Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. MC Mura here. Now recently I have done a video trying to rank up the best projectiles in Street Fighter V, and today we have kind of the complete opposite. We're gonna be ranking up what is the best anti-fireball tools in Street Fighter V. Now there are a couple of rules to this list and couple of things that I wanted to explain. First of all, we're gonna be judging these fireballs based obviously on their frame data. So we're talking about startup, how quickly the invincibility kicks in. We're also gonna be judging them basing on the post-hit situation, right? So we have moves like Akira's heavy kick DP. Yes, she can go through fireballs, but it kinda resets the neutral. She doesn't get neutral advantage from this, while others on this list actually do. And third, we're gonna talk about how easy it is to react with this move. Now with that out of the way, let's first start with two honorable mentions before we start our list proper. And one thing that is important to highlight is, just like the best projectiles list, this will not include any V-trigger special moves or the V-trigger activations. So let's get started. Our first honorable mention is gonna be Poison's EX Love Me Tender. This is an attack that I think most people have issues with because of its overhead properties, but the anti-fireball tools aspect of it is actually still pretty nice. It is 24 frame startup, so it is a little bit on the slower side, but it is projectile invincible from frame 3, so that's pretty nice. One thing I will say is that Poison doesn't get the best Oki out of it. On a dash, she is only neutral, so she doesn't get like true advantage, and if you know that, you can actually kinda keep her offense afterwards in check. The second move pretty much got here simply because of its frame data, because honestly they're kinda ridiculous. This attack is obviously Ibuki's EX Raida. This move is 7 frame startup, so it's super fast, and it is projectile invincible from frame 1, and it does 150 damage, so does respectable damage as well. Now the issue with EX Raida is that it gives Ibuki no Oki whatsoever. The opponent is being thrown about 2/3 or 3/4 of the screen away. That's far away from the positioning that Ibuki wanna achieve, especially if she's spending 1 bar for it. And with all of that being said, let's now start our list proper with number 5. So let's start our list proper with number 5, and this list is gonna be ordered by the way. Number 5 is going to be Rose's EX Spiral, and I know some of you might be surprised like, what? Rose's EX Spiral? And yes, I do actually think as an anti-fireball tool, this one is pretty great. It is 13 frame startup, so it is decently fast for an anti-fireball tool, and the good thing is that the projectile and strike invincibility kicks in on frame 1, right? So this means that you really do have a big window to go through that fireball. And one of the other really nice things about it is that it is forward moving, does have decent range, and it does put the opponent at full screen distance. Now for a character like Ibuki or Akira, full screen isn't really good for them. But for someone like Rose, yeah, that's actually pretty nice. It's like Guile's EX Flash Kick. You pretty much have the ability to send the opponent full screen on a zoning character, so I do think for Rose and her toolkit, it works out fine. Now I would have placed it higher if Rose had more advantage on this knockdown, so she can set up an even better zoning game, but at this point I still think it's good enough to land at number 5. Number 4 on this list is gonna be KARIN'S EX Command dash into Tenko. And while this move does have fireball invincibility kicking in on frame number 4, this means that it will require a little bit of an earlier reaction from you than some of the others on this list, but the good thing about it is that the reward on hit is always massive. Just depends on how much you're willing to spend. If you're willing to spend the bar, you can get some really high damaging combos. If you are not, you can still just use EX Tenko and then combo into V skill, and that will actually give you some V gauge and a really good Oki situation. Number 3 on our list is gonna be G's maximum level presidentiality wheel kick, and obviously the EX wheel kick as well, because this attack is amazing when you really think about it and take a really good look. First of all, it is 20 frame startup, so the startup speed is actually pretty decent, right? It is invincible from frame 4, which is also pretty nice. Have a very vertical hitbox, so even if the opponent is jumping, it will snatch him out of the air. All of that's good. But what makes this so special is that it gives G insanely good knockdown, especially given G's offensive options. It's one of his premier combo enders, right? So the knockdown and OK on hit is fantastic. But what makes it so powerful is that it is actually completely safe on block at -2. So you have an attack that you can simply use against any fireballs. If they happen to jump, you will get the hit anyways, and if you happen to land it, you get put into a fantastic OK situation. Honestly, there is never a bad time to use this move, it is that good. Number 2 on our list is Cammy's EX Spiral Arrow, and believe it or not, this is an attack that actually got nerfed in one of the later patches. This used to have frame 1 fireball immunity, but now it kicks in on frame 4. So it is a little bit weaker in that sense, but still in the grand scheme of Street Fighter V, this move is phenomenal. It is 7 frame startup. Remember that G's is 20, Poison's is 24, so 7 frame startup means that if you happen to bypass the fireball, you are pretty much guaranteed a punish, and that makes it very powerful. But it doesn't stop there. Also, Cammy gets to be in a fantastic OK and pressure situation after, right? And for a character like Cammy, this is huge because this not only allow her to bypass the fireball, kinda like Ibuki did, but then she gets to follow on with her game plan, which is rushing you down. Number 1 is easily BALROG's V-Skill 1, and especially the punch follow-up. And I do think this is a single move that single-handedly makes BALROG the hardest counter in Street Fighter V to fireball zoners like Guile and Sagat. And it's absolutely fantastic. Now this move is 18 frame startup total if we talk about like the actual spin and then the punch follow-up. And it does have fireball invincibility on frame 4. So you might be wondering, Mura, well, we have seen fireball invincible moves from frame 1, we have seen attacks that are as fast as 7 frames in Cammy's EX Spiral Arrow. What makes BALROG's V-Skill 1 punch so special? Well, my friend, the answer is the cost. Cammy require an EX bar, Ibuki require an EX bar, BALROG doesn't. As a matter of fact, he builds V-gauge for going through your fireballs. That is absolutely insane, and obviously BALROG has one of the best V-triggers in the game. So not only does it require nothing from his side, meter-wise, it only requires nothing execution-wise, because Cammy have to do emotion, Ibuki have to do emotion. Everything we have seen so far has been a special move. This is a button press. He just pressed the V-skill button and damn, he's in, and now you have to hold it. And not only that, it's also one of the most rewarding on hit. He can V-trigger activate from that, get massive combo. If he have his V-trigger 2 on, you are gonna hold one hell of a mix-up, but even without it, it does put BALROG in a very strong situation. He's gonna be plus on block or plus on hit on your face, and you pretty much have to hold it, right? And even on block, the attack actually isn't that unsafe, which makes it a tremendously powerful attack. Obviously, he can even do it V-trigger activate on block and get insanely good plus frames as well to apply his pressure. In all honesty, this attack is fabulous. When you consider it and compare it to all of the others in Street Fighter V, I don't think any moves come even close to being as good of an anti-projectile tool as BALROG's V-Skill 1. It is in a league of its own, in my opinion. And that is pretty much it for today's video. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment. Helps the channel so much. I will be leaving a link to the Patreon page, the Discord server page, and there is a Twitter page on the description below if you are interested in following me on Twitter. Thank you very much for watching and stay safe.